You are listening to the City Vent, proudly sponsored by the Westview Motor Company, supplying your new and used cars. Find us at westviewmotorcompany.co.uk.
So hello everybody, welcome to episode 9 of the City Vent. I'm here again with our standing presenter Andy. How are you doing, mate?
I'm all good, Matt. How are you?
Good, mate. Very good. Yeah, ready for the season now, aren't we? So this is the last podcast we're going to do before the season begins. Chris is obviously going to be back. It's just that we need fill-ins now and again, and I'll probably disappear, and Andy will cover for me. So it's nice to have three of us milling about. So thank you for joining me, mate.
Anytime.
So lots to talk about. Looking at your house in the background, looking very posh. You know, you're living in Wales now, living the dream.
Yeah, it's not that much of a dream, pal. I can assure you with that. This is not my house. You don't want to see. You don't want to see what's behind me. It's not nice.
Kids and mess like Alphabet Zoo. Like
it is Alphabet Zoo around here. It's ridiculous.
Which actually, you shut down Alphabet Zoo. You should go there all the time.
Actually?
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone. In fact, something really bad happened there. You know, I think they were like some guy that were wielding a knife or something.
Really?
So, yeah.
I remember going on school trips there when I was a kid.
Yeah, me too. And my mum used to take me all the time. We used to go to McDonald's nearby and go there, and used to love it. But anyway, nostalgia for you there. The rap from growing up. So, mate, there's a lot we want to talk about, obviously, naturally, because there's loads going on. So the first thing that we'll touch on is the pre-season progress. So we've had a pretty good pre-season. Obviously, we had a poor result at the weekend, but you can't read too much into it, can you? It's just, one of those things, isn't it? You win some, you lose some.
It is. Like, anybody that looks too much into pre-season, it is about building fitness, gelling. Look, we've got 14, 15 new players. They need time to gel, don't they? Let's be honest. And you can't get overexcited at beating Sunderland or winning any game in pre-season, and you shouldn't be getting too worried by losing to Chesterfield. Like, it is what it is. It's pre-season. Only time will tell. I think you really want to be looking 10 games into the season before you start making your mind up on this squad.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you, mate. And I feel like he's just picking his first 11. Although, over the last sort of couple of games, we've seen that sort of get a bit more solid. And I feel like we're going to do that today. We're going to predict what we think is going to be the starting 11 for the first game. But I think it's becoming a little bit more obvious as the weeks have ticked on. Disappointing result at Chesterfield. They did score 3 quick goals. Speaking to a couple of people who went, because I didn't, Chris did. I feel like we did have a pretty good performance in the main, but just didn't get going as much as we have done in the other games so far. But yeah, I feel like the first 11 is sort of picking itself a little bit at the moment. I know it's very difficult for Mark because there's a lot of talent in the team, but I feel like we're getting closer, to see what that's going to be. So yeah, I mean, 1 week to go till the opener, mate. The excitement is building, isn't it? I mean, you're coming up, aren't you?
I can't wait, mate. Like, it's my first home game, first game of season in 10 years, and I am so excited for it. There's so much. It feels like a very do or die season, don't you think? Like, we've put so much into all this recruitment and recruiting the right type of player, and it just feels like that. If we don't do it this season, are we ever going to do it?
Totally agree with you. It just feels like it's now, doesn't it? It feels like now's the time. The momentum's all going in the right direction. Hughes has got everybody singing off the same hymn sheet. Just listened to an interview with him on TalkSport, and he said that his methods, the way he's worked in the Premier League, are pretty much identical to what he's doing at City. He just says that the roles that he has, like sports scientist, that kind of stuff, it's doubled up. So people might be like a coach, but also be the sports scientist. So the roles that do more, because we haven't got the budget to be able to pay for each of these people individually. But that was really interesting to say he's doing things, the right way and a Premier League way, if you like, which is just mental, isn't it, really, to think about it. But it feels that way, doesn't it? It really does feel that way.
Yeah, it feels like there's a bit more of a professional air around the entire place in training. Like, I've read bits and pieces. He did an interview for Daily Mail over at weekend as well. And he was saying in there, like, he's enjoying the fact that where in the Premier League he'd be telling someone to then tell someone to then tell someone that he wants this doing, but now he's shoving his head around the corner, shouting down the corridor to get stuff done himself, and he's relishing that being more hands-on again. So it feels a lot more professional. It seems like he's enjoying coming down to, I wouldn't say a less professional level, but he's relishing that more hands-on experience because of the lack of being able to afford so many staff or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like he's getting his hands dirty again. I mean, you watch the training and when they're warming up, and it's usually Glyn that leads a lot of that. But like you say, I think he is getting his hands dirty with a little bit more of the background work, and he's probably enjoying that because it is a different experience for him down in League Two. Like I say, the setup's similar, but there's more that for him to do, I guess. And yeah, it's still unbelievable, isn't it? That he's here. Yeah. It really is a strange
Pinching
thing.
myself, mate.
Yeah, it's weird. We talk about it pretty much every week because it is bizarre that he's managing, in League Two. And on TalkSport, they're asking him for his opinion on Man United's new manager. They're saying, "What do you think?" And it's like they're asking a Bradford City manager his opinion on the new Man United manager. Yeah, that's mental, isn't it?
It's incredible. It's incredible, mate. To be honest, I still when news broke when he joined, I had to second guess. I was like, is it that Mark Hughes? Is it really him? Yeah. But no, even now, like I'm still pinching myself. He's been with us for a fair few months now, and it's still insane that we've got his playing career, like he's just a hero, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah, and for many clubs, manager, player, absolutely, he's just got a distinguished career, and it's just crazy that man is steering the ship. And like you've said, it feels do or die, and it feels like, for me, we'll talk about his predictions, but it feels very positive, I must say. And I know we get, shouted at for being happy clappers and things on these podcasts, but there's nothing negative to talk about at the minute. We are going to always be honest with our opinions, but at the minute, everything's going in the right direction as far as we can see. Time will tell when we come to Saturday and we play, and Doncaster put 6 past us or whatever. That's not going to happen. That's when we can start having the conversations about, what's going on. I mean, we're not going to get upset about a 3-0 defeat against Chesterfield because it's a pre-season friendly. It means nothing. So, it's in the past as far as I'm concerned. So, talking about the excitement leading up, obviously, like I say, Andy's coming down, I'll be going. So, we have got a display for those that have been living in a cave for the last sort of few weeks, not been on Twitter or Facebook. We are putting a display together for the Kop for the first game of the season. So the way that's going to work is we're going to have the stripes down the Kop, so our famous stripes, very similar to the Sunderland game from those years ago that James Mason organised. But also, we've got a gigantic flag, in fact, made, which is absolutely unbelievable. I get to get my hands on that tonight. We're going to go down to Valley Parade to meet up with the guys down there, get the flag out, have a look at it. And just sort of work out the logistics of it all. I mean, it's exciting, but there's a lot for us to think about. There's a lot to do in the minute. And I mean, Andy's the man who actually designed the flag. So tell us a bit about that.
Oh, mate, it's been a pleasure, to be honest. Usually any of my sort of like design work's always been purely digital for social media or whatever. But seeing this flag, the way it's come out, like going back and forth, I mean, you stress me out something chronic, let's be honest. I've never met anyone that's so picky as you are. True. But it's worked out for the best, in fairness, because we've got such an amazing product from it. And where you've organised it, Chris has organised it, I've designed it. Let's be fair, though, it wouldn't have been possible without any of the City fans donating.
That's what it's all about. That is all it's about, and I absolutely agree with you.
The way we've come together, it's just been incredible. Like, I mean, we're well known as being tight gits up north, and that's followed me down here as well. I'm such a tight git, but
it's true though. Tight pockets.
Oh, definitely. But like the way everyone came together, and in such a short space of time as well, to be able to generate that amount of funds to do it. And I just hope to God that come Saturday, it's going to look absolutely incredible.
It is. It's bonkers. The fundraising has been absolutely bonkers, and certain people putting a lot in as well. To be fair, I'm not going to name any names or embarrass anyone, but even if you put 50p in a pound, that contribution is huge. There's 7,500 people potentially that sit in the Kop. And a pound a piece would have been fantastic. So for those that have put more in, less in, whatever it has been, it's a contribution, and you're the guys who've made it happen. So thank you so much for that. The TNA published an article about us, so thank you to those. And BBC as well, Radio Leeds also put us on there as well. So that was fantastic. So thank you to Lewis for that. The club are working with us as well. So I think they're going to put out a tweet possibly this week just to explain the logistics of it. So we're meeting with them tonight to discuss how we're going to do it. We think that the big flag, it's massive. It's like 18 metres by 10. If you've not seen it yet, there's a few teaser images on our timeline. Have a look at it. The quality is just out of this world. So just talking about that, The man who sorted this out for me is a chap called Dec Dyson, who works in the printing business, and he's been unbelievable what he's done for us. Obviously, we've paid him, so yeah, he's happy. But he's been really he's listened to us and he's just been fantastic and made sure, like we have, that it's come out as a polished article. So as well as Andy saying that it's me, Chris, and him, Dec as well has been brilliant. And
yes.
You guys as well. So you're the ones really that have paid for it. So we can't thank everybody enough for the contributions. And like I say, you're paying for the strips down the cop as well. So that will likely be on poster paper. We're thinking A3. So there's going to be half claret, half amber. We want everybody to hold them all up together at the same time when the game's about to kick off. And the flag will float along possibly the bottom of the cup, we're thinking. But we'll find that out tonight and we'll discuss that in a little bit more detail and release everything to you as well, guys. So, yeah, it's exciting. I feel like this is added to everything that's been going on. The Mark Hughes effect has made us maybe want to come together a little bit, and everybody's in that same sort of way of feeling, aren't they, mate?
Yeah. We're just like riding the crest of a wave, aren't we? We're just on the top, enjoying the ride while it's lasting. And I mean, if these group of players don't walk out to Valley Parade on Saturday afternoon, see this display and think this is what Bradford City is about, then Nolt's going to do it. No at all will be able to do it. You've got Mark Hughes on bench. You've got a massive display. You've got near enough a full house. Like we're expecting 17,000, 18,000 for League Two standards. That's incredible. It's an incredible amount. They're going to bring a couple of thousand. Atmosphere should be bouncing. It's if it doesn't get them wanting to play for Bradford City and know what it is to play for Bradford City, then should they be playing for us, really?
Absolutely, but the sort of players that have come in, they all seem to relish that, that opportunity and they want to be here and play in front of the crowds, and that's a big pull. There's a lot of pulling factors, I think, this season, especially, like I said, the crowds, 14,000 in League Two, like you mentioned, is unbelievable. Let's not get past that. And people say, oh, the cheap tickets, blah, blah. They're not actually that cheap anymore. Morecambe's are cheaper. There's other clubs that are cheaper. They are cheap, but they should be. It's not a bad thing. Season tickets should be at that sort of figure, not £900 a season like Arsenal are charging. It's ridiculous. They should be affordable to football fans like us, and that's what makes you want to go. And then you spend money at the shops, the catering, whatever you do. It's just part of it. And I love the club for that. I think it's brilliant, the incentive there. And yeah, I don't think I'll ever stop getting a season ticket. I'd probably pay for it if it would double the price, mate. I can't lie. However, it just makes it that little bit better, doesn't it, when you are saving a bit of money and
for sure, yeah. Like I can't get over how opposing fans always moan at us, or you've only got the attendances because of the cheap season tickets. Do you not want that for your club? Like football's a working man's game at the end of the day. Like it's where the working man goes to let a load off at the end of the week. Like why are we getting priced out of it? It's our game. It is meant for the working man. That's the whole point of it.
Well, there's a famous meme or phrase, isn't there, that football was created by the poor and stolen by the rich, and I feel like that's very prevalent, especially when you get up to Premier League. The money that's involved now at the level is unbelievable. Yeah. Whereby where we are, it feels like it is the working class sport, and it's something that people can get really on board with. Obviously, we've got rugby league as well, as you can see that side. I'm a big rugby league fan too, but football to me is just everything. I just think it's just where you, like you said, you go and you relieve that tension and just shout, and you can have a really good time and just relax. I was saying to Chris the other day, mate, I actually love going to watch football on my own. And he said the same, and it's because it's your own space, it's your own time. You watch the game, you're totally involved in it, you're watching everything that goes on. And I just enjoy doing it. You see things going on differently because you're not chatting to somebody next to you. You're seeing how everything moves and the players moving around. And if anybody hasn't done that before, I really do recommend it. Just get yourself down to a game on your own and watch it, especially from a bit higher up where you can actually see the workings of the tactics. It's really interesting. I love going to football with other people as well. It's great because it's the camaraderie and the laughs you have. But for me, sometimes it's just nice to get there on your own and have that time to think. So yeah, I mean, like we say, going back to what we're talking about, it's really exciting. The media attention's been very different as well this season because of Mark Hughes. He's been on Sky Sports News of the day, Talk Sport have had him on. Obviously, he's on the radio all the time, and just people want his opinion. And the interest in League Two this season is the most it's been. And you've got the Crawley ownership as well. Stockport coming up and spending money. So it feels like a lot of eyes are on League Two. I mean, if Wrexham had come up, even more so. Do you know, with the ownership there, they've been bonkers, really.
Well, yeah, they've got like an Amazon series coming out, haven't they, next season?
They have, mate. And
On
I feel like
FX.
they're probably doing that with a little bit of an expectation to maybe you get promoted. Maybe that's the feelings towards doing it right now.
It's the Ryan Reynolds pull. They wouldn't have been bothered otherwise, would they? Let's be honest. They've been out there.
Not. No, it's one of them things, isn't it? But in a way, I know this sounds a bit controversial, but I wouldn't have minded if they'd have come up, you know, because I feel like it had been a massive build up to that game. And but then again, the other part of me is thinking, no, don't. They're spending loads of money. Stay down where you are. Money can't buy you success, you know. But it's whatever, innit? I guess it's balancing out.
I'd have liked him to come up because there's a couple Wrexham fans that I know down here, so banter would have been all right. Thing is, last season I lost a lot of my local away games. Like you've got your Bristols, your Forest Greens, they've all gone up. So I've got literally it's really close by is Newport. That's it next season. So I'm gonna have to travel a bit farther and wider, unfortunately. But ayo, that's
the
like
pool's there, though.
Oh, the pool's always there. The pool's always there.
Do you know what as well? Like when you start well, the pool's there more, and you think, oh, I just want to go to every game. Like me in pre-season, I want to go to every game. It's just impossible. So for me, I'm getting married in Cyprus. If you don't already know, probably told everybody, every man and his dog. But I'll miss 3 games, I think, and I'm devastated about that personally. But there's a couple of City fans that are going to be in Cyprus at the same time, and we've said we'll meet up and watch it, you know, on the Fire Stick or whatever. So
that's a result.
Won't be missing it. Will not be missing the games. But that makes me feel like you do. You know, when you live far away and you're missing the games. Like for me, it's 25 minutes, half an hour into Bradford for an home game, and I'm there. Whereas somebody like you, we were talking about this one with Phil,
with Dara and Phil,
in how far you live away, and it means that you can't go to games, and it's hard, isn't it? Missing out. You really do feel like you're missing out because
mate, it is hard. Like up until I moved down here, I was season ticket holder. You know, I've got so many memories. My granddad, rest his soul, he was the one that took me with my grandma. Spent so many weekends with him, and to move down here and lose all that. To be fair, it's really all that I miss about Bradford at the moment. Yeah. But like it does feel like part of it's missing. I'm not gonna lie, and there's only so much like Twitter and stuff like that can keep you involved, if that makes sense. You do feel like you're constantly missing out. But no, this is why I'm so excited to come up on the weekend. Like it's going to be a crack, innit?
It is. And you know what? Like we talked about this as well last week, and I'm referring back to it, but you can watch the games on the TV all you want. You know, it's great on the TV. You can watch it. You can see everything that's going on, but there's nothing like being at a live game. The smells, the feeling that you're there, you know, when it's cold or whatever, just everything about it's just, for me, it's one of the best things about life. I know that sounds ridiculous and very sort of preachy, but just to be able to go to watch a football game on a Saturday with 14,000 people that have the same thoughts as you, that want this team to win and do well, I just think it's part of something really special. And every club has that around the country, of course, in different varying degrees of fans, but I don't know. I just love being part of Bradford City. For me, that's what I feel.
It is like a family, isn't it? Like it's like you go every week and whatnot, and you've got your season ticket, and there'll be a bloke that you see every other week. You'll never speak to him. You don't know his name, but you just give him a cheeky nod and a cheeky wave because you recognise each other, and then go about your business. But it's just that feeling of family. You've never met the guy. You don't speak to him. You don't know his name. But you acknowledge each other, knowing that you're both there for the same thing. Like, and it's just having that feeling of togetherness, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's weird.
And the other cool thing I like is when you go somewhere. So, like, if I go to Scarborough or Brid or even like further abroad, and you see a City shirt, it's like, what? And I say to Rachel, my missus, there's a City. She's like, no, don't. And I want to go and speak to him straight away, and she gets really embarrassed. But for me, you get excited, don't you? She feels you know. Part of the
it's surprising. It's like when you go abroad as well, and I see like you know, when you have going Irish bars or whatever, you're abroad and you see City shirt on walls or something like that. You're like, where the hell did you get that from?
Goes with another story, don't you? Behind it,
like, totally.
I love that. And there's a picture in there of like the Dalai Lama in a City shirt. That's a famous one. And other people that have worn them and stuff. And I always want to know the reason behind it, and I think it's ace. I really do. Just our colours are so like recognisable as well. Because if you see a blue shirt or a white shirt, it could be anything, couldn't it? But when you see Claret and Amber, you know, you've got 3 teams really that it could be potentially, and one of them is us. So yeah, I love that, mate. I'll be taking my my colours abroad. I might even take one at Flags, and I'll put it on balcony.
Do it. Fly it
Might
high.
do that. Nice little
Fly
bit
it
of
high. You're already seen a flag, I think.
Yeah, I might do. I'll sing it on karaoke. Get all bar singing it.
Get Timmy out, get Timmy out. Make it happen, mate.
Talking about that, a lad messaged me the other day. He went to the what game did he go to? I'm pretty sure it was the Sunderland game that he went, and he saw Timmy outside after, and he got his signature and stuff. And he said he sang the song to him. So he was singing the Timmy song to him, and Timmy said, "Oh, I love it." So there we go. I think he's already heard it before. I'm telling you, he has.
Endorsed by the man himself.
Yeah. So there we go, guys. I were actually going to come up with another chant for this particular podcast, but I hadn't thought of anything in time because I've got a lot going on. But I will get something else out there but then again, guys, I must say, I feel like I've peaked at the Odesuna one. I really do. I can't even say his name properly. Every time I say it wrong. But the actual chant is class. If I don't mind saying
it's going to be difficult to beat, isn't it?
It is. So there we go. We peaked. Maybe it's too good too soon, but leave it with me. I'll try and think of something else, and I'll let Andy have a go. And anybody else, if you've got any cool ones, be original though. Don't just recycle what everybody else has got. Try to think of something new like this one, and we'll try and take it far for you. So moving on, predictions, mate. So we're going to talk about. We're not going to go into detail of why, the whats, the whys, the whos, but we're going to predict what we think the table's going to be. All we're going to talk about is a top three, including the champions, which is obvious. We're going to talk about the champions, the two automatic playoffs, the playoff winners, and then we're going to talk about the relegations. There's two people in those spots as well. So let's talk about champions first. I'll go first, Andy, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Bradford City, would you believe, that are going to be the champions this season. I just got a good feeling about it. I feel like it's just the best team that we've had in a long time. The recruitment's been fantastic. There's not many weaknesses across the park. Yes, time will tell when we start the season. But for me in this league, we've got the best team, the best manager. We should be champions. Andy?
For me, I'm not going to go with City. I'm going with Stockport. Now, the reason being, one, Stockport are spending a ton of cash, and you saw that last season as well coming up. But with Bradford City, we don't do all easy. So like I just don't think we're gonna hit the top spot. I do think we're gonna come second. And like I said last week as well, I think anything less than autos is a disappointment this season with the squad we've got. But I think we're going to be pipped to the post by Stockport.
Interesting. So Gabriel Sutton has us finishing 9th, which I found interesting. So he's the Football League expert. Is he though? Are you, Gabriel? Not sure, mate. Because City are flying this season. 9th is ridiculous. It's ridiculous, mate. But to be fair, every season is pretty much bang on. But we'll forget that for now. So we'll talk about second and third. Who we think is going to finish second and third. So for me, obviously I've got Bradford at the top. Second, I've got Northampton, and third, I've got Mansfield. So again, I feel like Northampton have recruited really well. They've got a really good striker coming in from Championship standard. I feel like he's going to do really well. And Mansfield have just been batting around there, aren't they, for the last few seasons? And I feel like they spend money. I feel like they're going to go up. This is probably different to a lot of people's predictions because people have got Stockport up there, Swindon, even Walsall and teams like that. For me, those are my top three. So Bradford first, Northampton, Mansfield. Andy?
For me, I like to say Stockport. They've been spending a fortune, haven't they, over the last couple of seasons as well, and they just look organised. They've got a nice core squad there that's gelled, and I reckon they will take the league by storm on the first attempt. City in second for me. Like I say, we all know we've recruited well. It's whether we can get it to gel. And then third, I've got Northampton. Like you said, they've recruited well, to be fair. They've got Championship striker, standard striker coming in. So, yeah, that's my top three: Stockport, City, Northampton.
Okay, playoff winners, though, for me. Now, this is another curveball for people. People might not think it is, but I think Salford. I feel like they've just spent money, haven't they, over the last few seasons, and they just don't seem to have it at the end. And I feel like this season they're going to have a really good season, get into the playoffs, and I feel like they're going to have the quality to get there and get over the line. Again, people might think why they just screw up every season, but I just got a feeling this season that's going to be different. And you know, these traditional teams, I guess, are going to struggle a little bit more, which we'll talk about later. But I do think Salford are going to win the playoffs. Andy?
For me, I can't. Salford spend money every year, don't they? We all saw the profits and losses when they released the financials last season. How they're not getting sanctioned by the EFL's unbelievable, to be honest. But that's a story for a different day, I suppose. For me, Mansfield, like you said, Weir Auto's prediction. They've been batting about. I think they'll just miss out on the Autos to Northampton, and they'll win playoffs by finishing fourth as well.
I'll tell you what's unusual, mate. They're very similar then. Them predictions are very similar. There's three teams there, that we've talked about together, and that's interesting. The only difference is Stockport and Salford, I think.
Where do you reckon Stockport are going to finish?
I think they'll be top 10. I think people are just getting too excited about them. I know usually what happens is when they come up from National League, they kick on again. But you don't always see it. And I just feel like everybody's building them up too much. They've got a good fan base, by the way. They've sold like 5,500 season tickets, which I think it's the second best at this level. And I love playing them. And we've had some really good games against them over the years. But I feel like everybody's just going all in on them a little bit too much. And they've not been in League Two for years in the Football League pyramid. So I don't know. I feel like they're not going to hit the ground running as what people think they are.
You say that they've not been in League Two standard for years, which is fair enough, but you've got to look at the National League now. That's standard. The money that's getting thrown about there, they say it's non-league football, but it is the National League is a decent league now. It's not far off, if not better than League Two, in terms of money being thrown about as well. So their players will have had some sort of inkling of what to expect this season by playing in the National League. But no, I get where you're coming from.
It's essentially, I agree with you up to a point, because it is like a League Three now. The quality in there is top, especially the top 10 teams, I'd say. But it's not quite as good, I wouldn't suggest. I feel like there is a step up. And that's just my thinking about Stockport. I don't feel like they're going to... But there's going to be some worse predictions in a minute that people are going to laugh at. So we'll get to that. But I just got a feeling that they're not going to do as well as people think, mate. I really don't.
Fair enough. So what are you thinking for relegation?
So this first one, pretty obvious. I'm going to go with Barrow. I feel like they've had the season in the League Two now, and they struggled towards the end of it. And I've just got a feeling that they're just going to go down. The setup there is quite low level. I don't mean any offence by that, but when you compare with some of the other teams in the league, the budget will be very low, and I feel like they're going to get found out. It will be between them and Harrogate for me for one of the spots. The other one, though, is going to surprise a few people. I'm going to put Swindon in there. And there's quite a few Swindon fans that listen to this podcast, and I haven't done that just for the reaction from you, I promise you. I've just got a feeling that last season you massively overachieved. I think a lot of people had you down for finishing right at the bottom of the table. You've lost a lot of key players. I know there's some excitement of some of the players that you brought in, but I don't think they're of massive quality. And I've just got a feeling like the core's gone. I know they've kept hold of McCurdy so far. He could potentially go, if he hits the ground running again, he could be gone in January. So I've got a feeling Swindon are going to struggle. And people laugh at that. I'm probably the only person out of anybody in the Football League that will suggest that they're going to finish there, because there is some poor teams at the bottom end of League Two. So you talk about Harrogate and people like that, Hartlepool potential as well. But for me, I'm going to put Swindon in there. So Andy, thoughts on that, mate, and then your two.
I mean, it's a bit left field, is that, pal? I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I don't agree. Not a chance. I don't think there'll be. Excuse me. Sorry. No, I don't think they'll be challenging anywhere near the top this season. But it's a bit harsh, is that, pal?
I don't think it is. You know what? Look at that season we had in League One. Who'd have had us, finishing bottom of the league pretty much? When we went up and we had that positive team, we spent so much money. You just never know. You never know until it begins. But for me, I just feel like there's things going on there that we don't know about. Obviously, Garner's come in and stole all the sort of the best players, really, let's be honest, leaving McCurdy there. And they've done a little bit of recruitment, but I just don't think it's enough. There's a lot of youngsters there, mate. And it would very much concern me for a Swindon fan. Maybe I'm being harsh, but it's my opinion.
Time will tell.
We'll come back to this. They'll be champions, won't they? We'll come back to this next year. And all Swindon fans will be posting this to me. But it's not to upset you guys. It's just my honest opinion. And
you're definitely getting pelters for it.
I'm gonna. Bill will come at me. Ben will come at me. Fine, guys, come at me. It's fine. Just make sure I can still stay at your spot when I come down to watch City away at Swindon games. So go on, Andy. Let us know about yours.
For me, mine are more sort of like to be expected, not left field like yours. For me, I've gone Colchester and Carlisle, and both pretty much for the same reason. Every season, they end up hovering around. And I just think this season they're going to bite the dust. It's got to be inevitable for me, to be honest. I think Harrogate have just about enough about them to stay up. Let's be honest, they're going to get 6 points against us. So,
I don't think they are.
but
Not this season.
they've become a bit of a bogey, haven't they? Let's be fair. But yeah, Colchester for me. I mean, they're not a small club, but it just seems like they constantly lose the way every season. And Carlisle, they always have a really good patch somewhere in the season. They always have a cracking patch where it looks like they might even make a jump for playoffs or whatever. But for some reason, it just dwindles away. And it's like jumping off a cliff dwindling. It's not a slow curve. They just drop. So I reckon Carlisle are going to finish bottom with Colchester hovering just above them. And then you might have your Harrogates and whatnot just in a bit of a battle with them for it. I reckon it's not going to be slam dunk points wise, like they're going to be going down on 7 points or whatever. Yeah. I reckon it's going to be really close and probably go to the last day. I think it's going to be a close league this year.
Interesting. Okay, mate. So that's our predictions then for this next season. So yeah, come at us, tell us we're wrong, let us know. We'll put that out on Twitter as well. We'll tweet the tables that we're thinking. I'll get Chris to tweet us as well because that'd be interesting to see. Because he'll have Crawley up there. I know he will because he's a crypto boy. So we'll get those out there as well. Just on predictions as well, just before we move on the agenda a little bit, let's talk about our predictions for the starting 11 for City then going into the first game. So me and Andy are together now. We're going to devise a first 11 together of what we think is going to start. Just to keep things nice and simple, we're going to go with a 4-2-3-1. It's one of the main formations that Mark Hughes has played with, at least starting a game. We do know that moves throughout the game, which we'll talk about. So goalkeeper, I think that one's pretty obvious, mate, but Let me know what your goalkeeper is.
Harry Lewis.
Yeah, totally agree. I don't think there's any move in that one, is there, at the minute?
No.
We've got Colin Doyle, obviously, in the background and young Heath Richardson as well. But Harry Lewis so far has looked solid, hasn't he?
I really like him, I do. I think it's everything we've been missing. The way he's commanding his area, the way he can handle the ball with his feet. I think we've missed a lot of that, to be fair. He seems really calm and composed, and his decision making, he seems to know when he needs to punt it forward.
Yeah.
And I think having like the likes of Verdane Oliver in the team as well, like it gives us that outlet for when we're not playing it out front back. So he's got to start out all day long for me.
Well, that's probably the easiest one so far, potentially. There's another one that's going to be easy, but that one's very easy. So we'll talk right back. So before we talk about this one, for me, I think Frelkeld over the last couple of games has been a breath of fresh air. He's obviously had a really good pre-season. I feel like somebody's taken him under their wing a little bit, Mark Hughes, Glyn Hodges, and just said, look, mate, go and play football and do your best. And, he's had a couple of stinkers. He did a couple of bits at York away. But I think what you'll find is that he's obviously quite nervous when he's on the pitch and obviously very conscious of some of the stick he's been given and things like that. And for me, it's time to leave off that a little bit and just see how he does. That said, I don't think he's going to be the starting right back, but I don't think he's horrendous backup to have, Whether he's going to be at the start of the season, we don't know. But I felt like he's had a couple of good games and he's shown what he's about. But right back for me, Halliday. Any thoughts on that,
Andy? Going back to Frelkeld, I think he's had a really good pre-season from the games that I've seen. He is the epitome of a confidence player, though, isn't he? If he's got a bit of a spring in his step, he's not afraid to take on a man. But you could see the fact that he was terrified to take a shot against Sunderland when the goal were gaping. And that was purely down to confidence. But if whoever has taken him under his wing, or whether it's just the whole squad coming so close together so quickly that he feels comfortable around the lads and whatnot, then he could do bits for us this season. If he's not going anywhere, he's not done himself any harm at trying to nail down a defensive spot. But he's not going to start. Let's be honest.
It's got to be Halliday, hasn't it?
It's Halliday all day long, mate. I mean, I've only seen him a couple of times, and I just like how attacking he is. It's a breath of fresh air to have someone bombing.
Yeah, totally agree. Just a bit more on Threlkeld as well. What I'll do is I'll hold my hands up and I'll say that over the last sort of podcasts that we've done in the spaces, I've given him a lot of stick, and I feel quite guilty about that, to be honest with you. But then again, I feel as a football fan, you should always criticise people's performances on the pitch. But when it comes a little bit toxic and too much, and it's really affecting the performance, that's not going to help anybody. It's not going to help us if he's playing for us on the pitch. It's not going to help him as a person. So I feel like we've probably got to be a little bit, considerate of that. And I'm not telling anybody what to do, but just for me personally, I've had a bit of a revelation, and I feel like it's probably been a bit harsh. And like I say, he's coming into his own a little bit. So give him a fresh slate if we can. See how he does, and let's see if he has a good season for me.
Well, yeah, I put a tweet out about it the other day, like when he was getting pelters. He got booed onto the field, and no player wants to hear that, even in a preseason friendly when you're coming onto the pitch. And I'd be the first person to hold my hands up, and I've effed and jeffed about him all day long when he's had a really crap performance. But as football fans, we're well entitled to that opinion. That is part and parcel of football at the end of the day. So I go for it. If he has a shit game, vent it. Like it's as simple as that. But on the flip side, if he's played all right, don't use him as a scapegoat. No need for it. And if you can see that the guy is genuinely just gone of confidence because of all the stick that he's getting. Yeah, just have a bit of human compassion and end it there. Just have a bit of think. Have a think to yourself and be like, does he really need me to tell him that he's been crap when he obviously knows it already?
Totally agree. And I just feel like sometimes it crosses that line into toxicity, and it just doesn't help anybody. And we've just got to be mindful of that. If he's had a bad game, say on Twitter he's had a bad game. Yeah, whatever. But don't attack his character. Or
no,
he's obviously not here to not try. There's games where you thought, come on, especially at Bradford Park Avenue away. But I think that's more down to maybe how he's feeling personally. But we're not going to get into that because we don't know the ins and outs. But yeah, just wish him all the best for the season. So centre-backs, Andy. This one's a little bit more difficult, but I feel like over the last couple of weeks, Mark Hughes' thoughts might be a bit more obvious to us. And I probably agree as well. I don't like saying this about my boy Timmy, but I think that we're going to have Matty Platt and Critchlow at centre-backs. They've both looked very solid. There's been a couple of bits, but the League Two defenders, but I feel like they're going to probably be our starting two. Although, does he want a bit of leadership and have Songo in that back four maybe? But Matty Platt's quite vocal. He's a big lad. He wins everything. And Critchlow's just like a Rolls Royce, passing the ball out. They're both very good at passing the ball. Songo, I think that's the part of his game that isn't as good. He panics sometimes. So they're my two centre-backs. But we'll talk about Andy. Would you change any of those?
I wouldn't. Obviously, Tim has missed all the preseason outings. So whether he's ill or injured, I'm not quite sure which. He's got a bit of work to do and fight his way into the team, I suppose. But right now, no. I think it picks itself. Songo, I love him for the fact that he's not afraid to literally throw himself and take himself out of the game to make sure that ball's not crossing that line. I love that. But his passing, you look at that pass that Critchlow did, I can't remember what game it was, not Sunderland, York, where he slotted it straight through for angle.
Yeah,
that vision is what we need, especially in the system that he wants to play out from.
You know what, as well, it wasn't a long ball over the top. It was flat along the floor. I saw the gap straight through it. It was beautiful. The weight on that pass was it was beautiful. It was gorgeous. I loved it. And me and Liam, I was sat next to Liam actually, and we saw it live, and we both looked at each other like, wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't think you can change him. But how nice is it that, and we'll talk about Songo in a second, but you've got Odesuna and Songo behind those two centre-backs. So the two, at least League Two quality centre-backs, and you've got that depth now. Songo, do we think that he is now a centre-back for us, not midfielder?
Yeah. I thought that last season, to be honest. I've not rated him ever in midfield. When he's been in a Bradford City shirt, I'd not seen much of him beforehand. but in a Bradford City shirt, seeing him at centre back, he looks comfortable. He looks like he knows what he's doing, and like I say, he's not afraid to throw himself in front of the ball. But in midfield, I just don't think he's got the touch and the pass to be that person. Don't get me wrong, he's a unit, absolute unit, but I just don't think he's got that finesse that you need to be a midfielder.
I love him. Like you said, he throws himself in front of things. He's just like a battering ram at times, and I love the guy, but I feel like there's better quality in the squad now, and we might not see him as much as we did last season. Left back then, this one's probably a bit of a tricky one. I think personally Matty Folds will start because Rydal's still out, but Matty Folds had a good pre-season as well, let's be honest.
I rate him. Unpopular opinion with some, I'm sure. Don't get me wrong, I like Rydal, but I thought throughout the season, Matty Folds came on leaps and bounds last season, and like at the start of the season, he was terrified to play in front of a crowd at City, and he seems to be coping a lot better with the bigger numbers now. And for me, we need to back him. He's a local boy. He supports the club, for God's sake. He knows what it is to be Bradford City. So if we can get behind him, and if he can do the business and keep Rydal out of the team, then all power to him.
Absolutely. And again, competition for places, two solid left backs really at League Two level. I know I've been saying over weeks that I feel like we need more at full back, and right back I feel like that's sorted now. Left back I'm quite happy with it. It might be our possibly his weakest area when you look at the team, but I'm not overly concerned about it, and I feel like between them both they can do the job. So midfield. So let's just say that we're going to go on a 2 at the minute. Now one of them picks herself, Smallwood. No arguments there.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not even going to talk about that one. World class, not world class, but very good. Top player. We like him. Controls the play. Yorkie was unbelievable. I was watching him the whole game. He controlled it defensively, offensively. Love him. Next to him, what do you think about Ryan East?
I've not seen much of him, so my opinion's not going to be great, like fully valid, I suppose. I think if Levi's fit, I'd play Levi.
Really? Okay.
Over East at this moment, purely on the basis I've seen more of Levi, and I love Levi Sutton. I think his energy is fantastic, and in sort of like in the formation that we're going for, he needs to be able to get up. You need everything really, and I've seen more of Levi Sutton. That's purely my reasoning for it. I've not seen much of East.
Okay, so we're going to fall out here. So for me, I think Ryan East has had a fantastic pre-season. I wasn't expecting much from him at all. I was a bit worried actually about him. He looks young. He looks lightweight. Thought we were going to struggle with the crowds. He's been the one player out of the whole of the signings that we've made who has really, really surprised me. He just seems really good. Really, like on the pitch, he's a different animal. And I think he's going to start. But again, looking at that midfield, you've got your depth with Sutton in there that can come on. You know, potentially Songo as well. Kean Scales potentially can play there. Gilly as well. Gilly in that defence.
Scales has had a good pre-season as well. When he's made impacts, I think he could see a fair bit of game time this season.
Absolutely, that depth is terrifying because Gilly in that defensive midfield position is brilliant, and I feel like when he comes back over whatever his injury is, the concern he's got, I feel like it's going to be him and Smallwood in that middle because he works so hard. Does Gilead, and he gets a lot of abuse for whatever reason. But I feel like that position really suited him. Even wing back we were good at as well. But I feel like that defensive midfield position alongside another one will suit him because what we see is when we're playing, Smallwood drops into that little hole in behind when your fullbacks go forward, and it's like you've got a back three when we seem to be attacking. Whether that we're going to see that throughout the season, we don't know. But that seems to be what's happening at the moment, which means that the other midfielder, whether that's East, Sutton, whoever, can go forward a little bit as well, sit in that middle. So we'll see. But so you're going Sutton, I'm going East. So we'll just leave it at that. I feel like we're not going to agree, so we're going to leave it there. Otherwise, we'll never get done. So that's the 2 side. The 3 and behind then. What we're going, mate?
For me, it's Walker.
That picks itself. That position for me picks itself. That number 10 in behind, Jamie Walker.
Chapman and Odesebi.
Yes, again. Another one that surprised me, that Odesebi, or whatever you want to say it. We'll get it right.
He looks hungry for it, doesn't he?
Massively, and it just looks lively. At times, it doesn't always come off because he tries, things.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's sort of cemented his position over pre-season, and he's started pretty much every game, and he's looked quality. So you'd go Chapman, Walker, Osadibe,
At this moment, yeah.
Right. East is obviously injured, and we thought we might see him again. Bit of a concern that he's injured again. Shame for him, because I'm sure he wants to play, and I really want to see him. I really do. But then you've got your Jake Youngs in behind. You've got your Keane Harrods. There's so much depth in behind, but I feel like that front three that you've just mentioned, I'd agree with. I feel like that's probably going to be the strongest in behind at the moment. But Chapman, I feel like he might work better as number 10, but there's no way he's getting near Jamie Walker at the minute. He's just been the player.
To be fair, I think it's going to be a really fluid behind that central striker. I reckon they're all just going to be moving around really dynamically into different positions. So I reckon you will see Chapman in a number 10 and Walker out on the left and Walker out on the right, or to say be moving in. I reckon it's going to be really dynamic, like top four.
Well, I'm just going to throw a curveball in here because I've had a bit of a realisation. Lee Angol's not in there. Now, for me, I love Lee Angol. I think he's quality. And I feel like he might be the man that starts over Chapman. I do. Ooh. I feel like he might be on left, Walker in middle, and maybe Osadibe on the right, or whichever. Cross them over. I feel like Angol's very much in Mark Hughes' plans, and he's the man that might start.
I think he's going to start with Angol up top against Don.
Yeah, not Oliver.
But then when it comes to Oliver getting purely because Oliver's not up to speed, he's not spent as much time with team and whatnot.
True.
And then I think Angol might, especially for winning, struggle to get in the team. And I love Lee Angol, but I think if he's not a winger for me, his best place is up top and making them runs. So you've got your Critchlows that can just pass a sweet ball through like that.
Stop it! It's too early. It would be beautiful though. I know.
It were incredible. Like that is higher league standard. Like that sort of vision is the sort of stuff you see in the Premier League and Championship. So the boy Critchlow, he has got that vision going for him, and you need. And I think Oliver is going to struggle because he's more of a target man. I think he might struggle getting to them sort of balls as well.
Potentially. I mean, he gave a lot of fouls away, as far as I'm aware, as well at Chesterfield. He was giving a lot of fouls away, and he just doesn't seem fit as yet. So, yeah, I think you could be right. Do we see Angol up top to start with, or even Cook? We're forgetting about Andy Cook as well. Obviously, I'm not going to go into detail on that one because, people slate me for my opinions on Andy Cook, but I just don't think he's quite there. But I'm not going to go into it. But again, look at the depth you've got there, Andy. It's just
it's incredible, mate. It's incredible.
You can't just pick your first 11 like that. You've got to debate it and think in your own head. Really, is that quite right? Mental.
I wouldn't mind seeing Harrod up top as well, on his own.
Do you know what? Him and Young link up really well. And I've said this before when we were playing at York away. They were just new. Do you know, like York and Cole used to be in players like that? They know where each other are and where they need to be. They had that sort of connection. And I ain't seen that at City for years between two players. That's an interesting one to watch. Whether they're going to start or not, don't think so. But we'll see him more this season as it goes along. And again, that depth is just very exciting. So we'll leave the predictions there because we can talk about it for hours and hours, but that's going to be our 11. So I'll just go through it now. Bit of a disagreement, but anyway. We're going to go Harry Lewis in net, Halliday right back. We've got Platt and Critchlow at centre back, and we've got Folds at left back. In front of the back four, we've got Smallwood and either East or Sutton. I'm going East, Andy's going Sutton. The three then in behind, you've got Jamie Walker in the middle. On the left-hand side, we've got either Angol or Chapman, potentially. The right-hand side, we've got Osadibe. There could be the other way around, but that's fine. And then up front, we've either got Angol or Vidane Oliver. So that's our 11 for the first game, which is very exciting 11, and we can't wait. So we're going to move on a little bit, and now we're going to talk about the third kit very quickly. Not out yet. We're hoping it's going to be out this week. You can see by our background on the video, if anybody's watching, that we've put it in a blue colour. So we're hoping that the away kit's going to be blue because we're a big fan of the blue kits. We don't know that for certain, but I'd like to hope it might be. We don't know any rumours about that. I think a couple of people said they think it's blue. Some people said pink. Don't know.
Could be all
blue. We're hoping blue, aren't we, Andy?
I'm hoping blue, especially with colours that we've got. I'm hoping that it's going to be So like a bit like the do you remember Beaver kit with collar
Yeah.
and V-neck that Adinio wore? I'm
Yeah.
hoping it's going to be a bit of an ode to that. To be
Yeah.
fair, because I thought that kit was stunning. It's one of my favorite kits of all time.
Yeah, but then again, look what they've done with that away kit. They've totally surprised us. So literally, this third kit could be anything.
I mean that the away kit for me it's nice. It's a nice smart kit, but it's not up there with my favourites. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you, mate. I've thought about it long and hard. I saw it in person. It's not for me. I just can't get my head around it. I just, I know some people love it. It's very Marmite. It's very Marmite. Not for me. So I'm hoping they're going to bring it back with this third kit. And there's obviously, they're trying to launch a goalkeeper kit as well. They're making a big deal about it. That's the other one that's online. We might see that early this week. So I think it's claret and amber, the goalkeeper kit. So it's likely to be an away or a third kit. But that's meant to be very nice and very different. So we'll see what comes about with that one. It's obviously not going to have a collar on because it's a goalkeeper kit and generally they don't. But that's another one to keep an eye on. But yeah, we're hoping blue out with mate. We'll agree on that.
Yeah, I want blue.
And we're hoping it's going to be this week before the end of the season because we're playing Grimsby this season, which means that we're going to likely wear the third kit at least once away. Because obviously we can't wear black and white and we can't wear stripes because of the clashes on people that are colourblind, things like that. So we're going to look at the next thing on the agenda, which is tattoos, which you might be thinking, why are you talking about tattoos? So I'm personally a lover of tattoos. I know Andy is as well. So we're talking about footballers with tattoos. Nowadays, it's very, very commonplace for them to have tattoos all over their arms and things like that. At one point in time, it were very much rugby league players that had tattoos and things like that. But yeah, footballers are full of them now, mate, aren't they? Do you think a lot of them just get them because they think that it's what footballers get and it's part and parcel of it? Or do you think a lot of them get it because it means things to them? What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I think everyone's got their own reasons for wanting to do it. Like all the tattoos I've got, each one's got some sort of significance to me. I didn't get it just because it sounded fun. But it's very addictive, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
I love it. I love having a tattoo. But no, footballers, I think a lot of them do. Like biggest one that gets talked about is Raheem Sterling's tattoos. Now I can't stand him as a player and whatnot, but his tattoos mean something to him, so I'll never slate him for that, regardless of whether it's a gun or whatever. Like, and he shouldn't be picked up on it. Like, what you choose to put on your skin, why is that anybody else's business?
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. Unless it's maybe hateful and it's sort of
if it's hate stuff, I mean, you don't want to put a swastika on your arm, but
exactly.
But like, if it's got some sort of meaning to you, then who are we to judge what someone puts on their own body?
Totally agree. And I think the thing is, we're probably biased here. We can't argue with each other because we both like tattoos. Chris does as well. So I'd be struggling to anybody who argues. But for me, I love them. I've got a couple of silly ones. I've got a turtle on my arm that I got from my mate in Zante on my stag do. We just a memory though. It's still a memory to me.
Well, yeah.
It might not be the best tattoo ever, but it's a memory. And we enjoyed getting it together. And I've got a full leg of tattoos. I've got a Crash Bandicoot Aku Aku on my leg.
That's amazing.
What is that?
That is amazing. The Ugga Bugger guy.
Yeah, Ugga Bugger. Do you know what? It's funny because I got it done at a convention in Blackpool, and people were walking past when I was getting it done, and this girl went, "Oh, look, it's Ugga Bugger," in front of all the mates. Everyone knows it as Ugga Bugger, but it's not. It's called Aku Aku, but Ugga Bugger's like what everybody knows.
It's the noise it makes, isn't it, when you get it?
Yeah.
But that's
exactly. Doesn't it, when he goes? And you get it. I used to like me and my sister used to love the racing, Crash Team Racing. That were our favourite. And when you got him, you were like unbeatable. You just flew through and smashed everybody out of the way. But yeah, I love it. That's one of my favourite tattoos, actually. I mean, it's probably the most ridiculous, I guess you might say, but it's just a bit of fun. It's colour. It's on my leg. I'll put a picture of it if anybody's interested. But yeah, big fan of that one. I'm going to get a couple when I'm abroad. So me and Alas are going to get one in Cyprus when we get married. So we're going to get one there. My sister was at the Ariana Grande concert.
Oh.
So yeah, so we're going to get a B, me, her, and my mum. So when they're back from, fully enough, my sister lives in Australia, and my mum lives in Murcia in Spain. So they're all coming back over here for the wedding to then go to Cyprus. So when they're back, we're all going to go and get the B because it's been a long time coming. So that's very significant to all of us.
Yeah.
Luckily, she didn't get any injuries or anything, but very poignant to us because it was a very awful, scary day for a lot of people. So yeah, so there's a lot of meanings, with people's tattoos. There's not always a story behind it. Just people like the art of it. But yeah, we're both fans, aren't we, mate?
Yeah,
so we just like it. And yeah, And on the subject of tattoos, before we do move on, I've been speaking to Jamie Walker quite a bit. Top guy, by the way, and he's really bought into being at Bradford and living in Bradford or Leeds, wherever he's living. But he loves it. He really has. His family coming down and moving down here, and he's just buying into the project. And that's first of all what you want as a player, rather than renting a flat in Leeds and whatever short term. But he's a tattoo man. He's got tattoos on his arm, and I was talking to him, and he said to me, I didn't even actually bring this up, but he said to me jokingly at first, if we go up this season, I'm getting a City tattoo. And I went, right, okay, let's just rewind a minute. So can we just agree now that you're going to get a Bradford City tattoo if we go up? And we had a conversation, and it turned out that anyway, we made a deal that if we do go up this season, which we will, matter of time, he's going to get a logo of Bradford City somewhere on his body, and I'm going to get a picture of him with the trophy. I'm holding it up, or like behind him or something, like holding it. So yeah, that's the agreement we've got, and I'm looking forward to that. I am, and I think
believe it when I see it.
Yeah, it's cool, mate. I'd get a tattoo every week if I could afford it. To be honest, I love them. I think me and Chris have got a bet as well that we'll probably talk about in the coming weeks about a tattoo. If I don't know, the Adam versus Chris that we have going on.
Yeah, well, I think you need to have a decent forfeit at end. And
yeah, whoever loses
be worth it.
The City Event logo or something. We can't do a Leeds badge or something like that because that'd be horrendous. So maybe just the City Event logo, or like Ian Ormonroyd's face or something tattooed.
Silly tattoos. Like I've still got a bet on. I still need to do it. But I had a bet on my mate. Obviously, being down here, he were a Swansea fan, and we made a bet for City Swansea Capital Cup final. Whoever loses has to get the opposite's badge on their arse. So I still haven't done it. I should hold my hands up and get it done, to be fair. But yeah, I need to get a Swansea swan tattooed on my ass.
Like that. Swansea shitty.
Yes.
Hey,
it's going to be all the shitty, mate.
But just for anybody that doesn't have a tattoo, what I will say is it bloody hurts. But yeah, just be careful if you do want to go for one, because you might get that needle might hit your skin. You might think, no, not for me. It does hurt. So if people tell you it doesn't and it's nice pain, they're full of hot air, because it does hurt. But for me, it's always worth it in the end.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, that's tattoo talk over with. So this weekend, I went up to Penistone Hill and met up with the guys from Trust Time Talk. So they run a Twitter page that's all about mental health and supporting people with mental health. They're just a charity organisation. They don't sort of offer any professional support. It's just more, if you want to chat to them, they're there for you. For me, I think it's unbelievable. Love it. We did a space about it last week, if you want to listen back to it. So Charlie organised it. He actually drove all the way from Rotherham, where he lives now. He's a City fan, to come to the walk at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning, which I thought was fantastic. There was 7 of us this week that turned up. We've got a picture that I retweeted, which were nice. We had a girl that came, and we had then 6 lads that turned up. And we set off from Haworth at the Moor, and we went up to Bronte Waterfalls and then up to Top Withens, which is at the top where the Bronte sisters got wrote the book or whatever, got the inspiration to write the books. But do you know what? It was absolutely a lovely day. Just people talking about everything, really, from City to personal life to whatever. There's no pressure for anybody to come. If you feel like joining us, please do. It can be anonymous, whatever you want. It's just for people to get out, get some fresh air. And we find that when you walk in, you just end up talking about, all sorts of stuff, and it makes you feel better. Personally, I don't know about you, what your thoughts on it, Andy, but for me, love it.
For me, like if I could have been there, it'd be a bit of an extra walk for me to get up there, mind. But no, I'm all for it. Any sort of mental health. I've had my own battles. I'm quite happy to openly admit that now. For a long time, I wasn't happy to admit that I've got battles and personal demons. But if it helps you, then you don't even have to talk about it when you're on these walks or whatever. But just getting out with some like-minded folk, it's going to do you world of good regardless. So I'm all for it, mate, and I applaud you all for doing it, to be fair.
Totally agree, mate. And again, even if you don't suffer from any sort of mental health, just if you want to come and walk with us, please do. We're just City fans. We try to do it Sunday, so it's like the day after the game, so we can talk about the game and things like that. And it was just nice. I've not met these people before. I knew one of the guys before that turned up, and we all just got on. You know, there was no pressure. If, like I say, if you don't want to talk, even if you just want to come and walk with us, just listen to me because I'll talk for England, as you'll know by doing these podcasts. So yeah, there's no pressure. But if you do want to join us, 10 o'clock on Sunday mornings. At the minute, we're going to do it at Penistone in the car park with me at the bottom. So if you want to join us, if you don't know where you're going or you want any support getting up there, just drop me a message or the guys at Trust Time Talk on Twitter. They'll give you some advice on that one. So yeah, good success. Thank you for organising that, Charlie. Get my teeth back in. It was fantastic, mate. Loved it. So thank you. Lastly, Andy.
I believe we got an award.
We did.
What's that then? What would you do for that then? Did you sell yourself?
So, yeah, I wish. I don't actually wish. So yeah, funnily enough, a lot of City fans, for whatever reason, well, thankfully anyway, they nominated us for an award. It's called the Fan Hub app. And it's basically an app that all fans can join. You can support your club on there. You can get like free drinks. You can win things on there, stuff like that. And we got voted as the game changer of the month. I'm reading it. I'm going to hold it up in a second. So we got voted as the game changer of the month for June. The main reason that we were awarded this is due to the fundraiser for the display that we're doing, and just for bringing fans together. Apparently, we hope we have done that and supported that in some way. So this is the award that was sent through in the post. Just going to hold it up. I know some of you won't be able to
nice see it. That, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty cute, isn't it? Nice colours, a bit of ombre going on. So that's the award, as you can see. So we got voted for that for June. I'm going to put it up here somewhere behind me. So yeah, thank you for anyone who voted for us for that. It means a lot to us. It's the first award that we've won, probably the only award that we'll win ever. But thank you anyway, because it is very nice for something to come in the post like that. And hopefully we are doing a good job. We're closing on 2,000 followers on Twitter. Facebook's growing as well by the day. And the podcasts are getting listened to a lot far and wide. We had a really good guest on last week. We're hoping to get a really good one on for the next one as well. There's a lot more to come from the City event as a podcast and as a collective. We're hoping to maybe get some players interviewed and things like that over the season and work with the club. So we're very excited about it. Thank you for everybody that is supporting us and being positive. If you don't like it, that's fair enough. Not everybody is going to like it or like us as people. It's just life. So that's totally fine. But for those that are liking it, thank you for all the support and thank you for continuing to listen. And thank you to you, Andy, as well. So Andy's behind a lot of the visuals that you see. So if you think the shit, it's him that's done it. I'm totally kidding because they're great, and without Andy, we'd be struggling. So thank you so much for all you do, mate. In the background, we don't give you enough credit. I like to give myself all the credit. That's how it works, you see.
Yeah, you're a spotlight whore, right? Yeah, that's what it is.
Like we're in the paper, weren't we, last week, and the picture with me on it on my own. But yeah, it won't be
not a mention of all the hours that I put into designing a flag or all. No. It's all you. It's self. I
know. I do know I'm a bit embarrassed about that, so I apologise. And yeah, I do not want to make it about me. You all know that I just wanted to continue the spaces personally, but there we go. We've ended up like this, and let's be honest, we're totally enjoying ourselves with it. And it's City content, so if people enjoy it, if one person enjoys it, that's all that matters. So thank you again for all the support, and again for that award. It means a lot. So we're going to tie up there, Andy. Thank you all very much for listening. Thank you for joining me, mate. Any thoughts before we go?
No, I'm just buzzing. Hopefully we'll see you about. Don't forget my polo shirt as well that we've got.
Bringing it.
And hopefully we'll see some of you down at Valley Parade bright and early next Saturday morning to help us set up.
Oh, just remembered something. Oh, baby. I'm not going to sing. The Exchange, the live podcast, guys. So I think we already mentioned this, but I just want to put this at the end so everybody hears it. It's going to be after the game now. We've obviously got to put all the display out, so that's going to take ages. We've got to get down there early doors, get all the display out before we can do anything. So we're going to do that after the game. So when we've finished, everybody's going to go down to the Exchange who wants to join us, and we're going to interview somebody down there. And then obviously we're going to talk about the game and just things that are going on at City as well. So if you want to join us, it's at the Exchange. It's next to Pizza Pieces, just where the Wool Exchange was, or is, I guess. So just underneath the back of Waterstones, it's just there. So come and join us. Everybody's welcome. Come for a chat, and we'll have a couple of beers and drinks after the game. So yeah, if you want to come down, please do. So thank you again, Andy. It's been a pleasure for you to be on. You're pushing for a starting place in this this podcast now, mate. That's twice now on the trot.
I can't replace Chris. He gets too much crap for me to want to deal with that, to be honest. So I'll leave it for Chris to have the opening spot. I'll just sub in every now and again.
Maybe we'll put a poll on to see who people prefer. Oh, we like a poll.
Do it.
Might
Do
do
it.
that. So if you've liked Andy, let us know. If you've not liked Andy, let us know.
Please do.
Yeah, please do, guys. But no, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening, guys. Take care, and we'll see you all on Saturday. Up the Bantams.
Come on, City.
Go on, City.